You've got the big pieces in place. Agenda locked in, timeline created, and vendors contracted. But if everyone's asking where is the plan, or worse, they're working off of their own plan, things are going to get chaotic really fast. I've seen it firsthand. Room setups miss, AV scrambling, or important changes that were made that wasn't communicated to the rest of the team. In this video, we're talking about the one document that you must have to keep your retreat from going off track: the master logistics document. It's more than just a spreadsheet, it's the one document to rule them all. At its core, the logistics document is the master file that outlines every moving piece of the retreat. From the daily schedule and room setups, who's speaking when, AV needed, and where your guests are needed to be. It is the one place that your internal team should be checking every day, multiple times throughout the day. It's the one source that vendors get updated copies to regularly. The file you use during your evening check-ins to make sure that nothing is slipping. When everyone has access to the same document, nothing gets lost. But if someone goes and creates their own document and goes rogue, that's when things start to unravel and get crazy. And I've been there, trust me, it is not a fun place to be. I clearly remember having a colleague who created their own document, and when the marketing team were working from that document, meanwhile, the logistics team, I had created our own master document, and this is the document that would go to the hotel as well as to our AV production team. And when we got on site, she was upset because things that she had put in her document weren't happening. But that's because she never shared her information with us. The information that we had in our logistics document is the master document. It is the one that everybody else works from. So if somebody's going off rogue doing their own thing, that's going to create issues like gaps in communication, missed details, and really a lot of unnecessary scrambling, all because it wasn't shared in the master file. So let's be clear here. Multiple documents do not make you more efficient. They create confusion. And confusion costs you time, trust, and peace of mind. And that's why your master logistics document needs to be the one thing that everybody is working from your VA to your vendors to your AV production team. So what does this magical document include? I'm glad you asked. At minimum, you need a tab or section for each day that outlines what's happening, when and where, as well as what all is needed from the guest perspective, as well as a logistics perspective. Think of it as like your real-time game plan. These daily pages are a full snapshot of what is happening on that day, listed preferably in time and order of the agenda so that when you're on site, you can quickly take a glance at what's needed so you know what's happening now and what's coming up next. This page should include room assignments, head counts, and room setup, speakers for each section, which helps you determine like how many mics you need, how many chairs you need to be on stage, and what all AV needs they need for their presentation, AV and tech need, catering service, as well as times for the hotels or venue staff to refresh the rooms. And if you're using an app, any app requirements. When is there going to be a Q&A session, a polling, or anything, or documents that need to be attached to a specific activity or session? Once you have that, from there you can build out additional pages that can carry even more detailed information, like a contact information page that lists out all the people of your internal team and who and what they're responsible for, or a contact page for your vendors and venues so that you know who your on-site contact will be, what time they're dropping things off, all of that. You can also create a speaker tab and track, have you received their bios, their photos, what all do they need? If you're inviting them to special dinners, you can include that kind of information so that you know what's happening when, as well as like who their on-site contact is, if that is somebody different. A vendor logistics tab that is even more detailed with load-in time, load-out time, what time they need to set up meals, things like that. A tab with the rehearsal schedule so you know what time the rehearsals are, where those rehearsals are, and who all you need to make sure you've collected to make sure that you're doing the rehearsals for that particular session. As I said before, this is the document that everybody's checking every evening during your daily check-ins. This is where we review things that happened before and make notes of what needs to be changed to make the next day even better. It's what you print and carry when you're on site. It's what lives on your laptop all day. Like, you're always in this document. And it's what every moving piece connects to. Because ultimately, when people have access to this document, it means they should be coming to you less with questions because all the information is there in one place. They no longer need to ask you because they already know. And if you're realizing that this is something that you need in your business, but you don't have time to create on your own, don't worry, I've got something that's coming up that might be able to help you. I'm working on a ready-to-go logistics form based off what I use with my clients, designed to help you stay organized and not reinventing the wheel. If you want to be one of the first to know when it drops, you can join the waitlist down in the description below. So to be clear, this isn't just a planning tool. This is your chaos shield, your event master. Retreats get busy fast, and once you're on site, things move quickly with you being pulled in multiple directions. If your team is coming to you with every little thing, like what time is this session starting? Catering get the updated head count? Do we have the latest slides from the speaker? You're done. You're in reactive mode, not leadership mode. And that's when things begin to start slipping. But when your logistics docs is dialed in and everyone is trained to use it, it stops those constant questions before they even begin. Instead of asking you, they check the document. Instead of missing a detail, they confirm it in writing. Instead of guessing who's in charge of a change, they look at the column that lists out the roles and responsibilities, and they'll be able to find out who exactly it is they need to speak to. And you're no longer fielding a ton of micro decisions. You're leading your retreat. You're staying present and you're available for the moments that matter. And here's something else I've learned. Most fires get started because people don't know where to look for the answers. A solid logistics document helps put all that information into one spot so that you're no longer carrying all of that on your own. But having a logistics doc is only half the battle. The real magic is how you use it. This isn't a set it and forget it kind of thing. This is a living, breathing document that is running your show. It needs to stay up to date, and everybody involved needs to know how to use it. That means making it part of your daily routine off-site before you get to the event, as well as on-site. For me, it is the first thing that I check in the morning and the last thing that I check with the team. And in the evening, we go line by line through every item on that agenda to make sure that we have the latest information. Do we know all the speakers? Do we have all the updated AV equipment? Everything that is needed to make sure that the next day runs perfectly. One quick note that is super important, you need to set clear boundaries and expectations on updates and changes to this document. If a team member makes a change that it could affect AV, room setup, or the agenda, they can't just edit it and keep it moving. You need to be notified, period. And at the very least, you need to have a system so that you can see what has been changed, so that you can review it and agree to it. Because while it may seem trivial, those details do matter. A room flip, which means you're changing from one setup, such as classroom setup in the room, to round tables, it may seem small, but it impacts labor, timing, and cost. And AV microphones are not free, and they are not cheap. If you're in a small space or with a small group with only a handful of guests, you probably don't need a full AV setup. But if someone adds mics and all that without flagging it to you, you will see it in your invoice. And like I said, AV is not cheap. It's probably one of the most expensive parts of your budget. So it's not just about tracking updates. It's about making sure those updates go through the correct approval process before they are finalized. That way, when you send the revised version to your vendors or to your venue, you know exactly what areas you need to pinpoint and call out so that they are aware of that change. And for your vendors and your venues, I do recommend creating a pared down version of that master doc because they don't need the internal notes, but they do need the essentials. Room setups, head counts, menu updates, load-in times, keeping them informed and keeping that version clean can go a long way. Just duplicate your document, delete the unnecessary columns, and send it their way. When your logistics document is clear, current, and respected as the go-to place for all the information, everything gets easier. Instead of chasing people or repeating yourself regularly, when people have questions, you can just say it's in the doc and trust that it's there. And once your team is aligned on a shared, reliable system, that's when momentum really starts to begin. But clear systems are only part of the equation. The real power comes when people who are around you feel empowered to actually execute them. Because at the end of the day, you're not running this retreat alone. Or at least you shouldn't be. In the next video, we're talking about what true support actually looks like. From vendor relationships to team structure, we'll break down how to build a crew that doesn't just help, but one you trust to lead parts of the experience with you. Check it out on the video on your screen right now.